Able here.
Hi, my friends. I'm so glad you're here today. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Erbu, and she is here to tell us her journey as well as she has some amazing skincare products for you all. So welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to
Mm,
be here, Amanda.
Yeah. So, I would love to know more about who you are and what you do. You have a lot of titles next to your name, which I appreciate, and all of them I'm very interested in. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. First of all, my name is Ebru, and I'm an immunologist and a molecular medicine expert. And my main research focus is and was how estrogen impacts the immune system and how sex hormones, estrogen, and estrogen-like chemicals, we call it xenoestrogens, impact immune system development, inflammation, and why women get more autoimmune diseases. So with that said, of course, I felt all the impact of inflammation, the bad inflammation, which we're gonna go into,
Mhm.
on myself and on my skin as well. That's why we focused on sharing all the information and the knowledge we have about inflammation and inflammaging and how we can manage it with our brand of Avicina. So basically, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that really interests me. I am someone who has Crohn's disease, so that is an autoimmune disease for sure. I have it a little bit more well balanced now that I am like taking care of myself and taking care of my stress, but I find all of that very interesting because it happens to me. Do you have any of that that happens to you? Is that why you got started with this?
No, not necessarily, but I don't have any autoimmune diseases. However, during my PhD, I had to go through a lot of skin-related issues due to stress,
Mm.
because stress is one of the culprits that just throws everything out of whack,
Yes.
including health and how you think and how you manage stress even more.
Mhm.
So that impacted me on a very personal level because my chin was hurting.
Mhm.
Was bad. I got cystic acne and boy did that like hurt. So it made me question why don't we have better skincare? Why don't we have the science, the real science integrated into all these expensive skincare I've been spending my money on? That was actually what pissed me off as a consumer and as a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so many that are so expensive, but yet the products that are in them aren't very good for you. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
and
disheartening. Yeah.
they're crappy. I mean, there is one brand, I'm not gonna name names here, that sells a cream for $3,000, and basically it's a
Yeah.
polymer based skeleton, and I can reproduce that in a heartbeat, and it's not worth $3,000. You're just paying the name to the brand, and
Yeah.
that is not right.
Yeah. And on the other side of that spectrum, I can go into the quickest drugstore or into Walmart or wherever it may be and buy really cheap stuff. But yet that isn't good for me either because that doesn't have the products that I need that are actually going to help my face either. So we
Yeah.
need something kind of in the middle.
Yes, exactly. Because, okay, my father used to say, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap products.
Mm,
He was a transplant surgeon. And the reason why he said that was on so many levels. Because you buy a cheap product, one, if let's say you bought a cheap shoe, right? And then what's going to happen? It's going to break down and tear apart in a couple days. So you're going to end up with dealing all that stress that, oh my God, I like this shoe, but it's tore apart. Why did I buy this? You spent the money, although it's cheap, it ends up more expensive in the end. So he didn't believe in very expensive products either because it was like, okay, those are hyped up. So as you said, something in the middle that has the science, that has the quality, and that has something that works for you, that is the ideal sweet point. That's why we founded Avicina, the brand.
yeah. I just wrote that quote down. So I am going to be stealing that from you and your
Oh
dad.
yeah, please,
Oh
please.
my God. I'm not rich enough to buy a cheap product. I love that. I love that because I think of if I go to those drugstores and I buy the cheap products for my face, it's not, I'm spending a lot of money on stuff. It's not actually doing anything to my
Yeah.
body. So
Yeah,
why spend
there is
all that
just
money?
one brand, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the name, The Ordinary, which is,
Uh-huh.
and everything from them is so cheap. I
Mm,
tried it. I was curious. This is my personal experience, by the way. I tried it, and boy, did I break out. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Then, like, couple days later, I'm breaking out everywhere, and I'm like, how can you make this cheap? Where
Yeah.
did you cut it from? Like, you have to cut down from, okay, you can cut down so much from the packaging. It's very simple glass
Mhm.
packaging. I get that. You can cut down from the label. I get that. But still, to make it $10 a piece, where are you cutting it from?
Yeah. Yeah. The quality.
I mean, I'm in the industry. It's nearly impossible to cut it down as much,
Yeah.
especially now with all the tariffs and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So you also brought up estrogen, and I am definitely interested in that right now as I am in perimenopause, like starting to end our menopause. How does that affect our skin?
It doesn't affect good.
Yeah.
No, what I say. So, estrogen, we need estrogen, right? I mean, even males have estrogen, and if anybody of the ladies are listening, if your husband is giving you a hard time, just tell them they have estrogen. They're gonna look at you like, oh my God, what are you talking about? And then you can tell them this study, they checked it out in mice, and then they deleted estrogen and estrogen receptors, and you know what happened? They couldn't reproduce, they became infertile. So
Mm.
you can tell them, it's like, if you didn't have estrogen, the bird wouldn't fly. You you can tell them that. But that's the funny part. So the estrogen helps us to look younger. That is true. Because we're in the reproductive ages as we go into perimenopause, that our periods are not going to be as on time as possible. And then it's gonna some months it's gonna spike up, some months it's gonna be lower than usual. So that's not a happy time. But
Yeah.
that's in a way your body's saying, it's like, hey, I'm getting ready to go into menopause. Maybe you should get with the program. Kind of, which is not
Yeah.
a happy thing. Menopause is not a happy thing. It's a lot of skincare changes and hot flashes and the nature's way of saying, okay, now you reproduced and you fulfilled your duties and now you can die with internal combustion. So it kind of feels like that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but and the men they don't understand. You're like, oh my God, is it hot here? And it's 70 degrees in the house, and you're like, no. I was like, don't look at me like that, you know? But the skin wise, of course, skin goes through aging. And unfortunately, these days we are since 2020, actually, we've been stressed more than usual. And that affects also the hormonal balance and our mental perception of things. Because when you are stressed, you're in the flight and fight uh,
Freeze, fight. Yeah.
and then cortisol goes up, and the cortisol cannot, in the brain, cannot distinguish between am I fighting, am I running, what am I doing? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So, how does this correlate to the perimenopause? As you go into the perimenopause, your estrogen level starts decreasing and you start gaining weight.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that's around the belly area. And here's one of the reasons, because we get more sedentary. That's besides the point. Our metabolic speed goes down. That's another thing. However, the decreased estrogen, the body needs to compensate somehow. And but in the fat tissue can produce estrogen
Mhm.
and progesterone because that's where it is. So, in a way, by increasing that fat tissue, the body is trying to compensate for that loss. However, that is your body also knows that, okay, this is not normal. And then it goes through inflammation, a micro type of inflammation, which we call inflammation. So, stress, perimenopause by itself is another stress, everything adds up, and then you are going through this inflammaging stage as a side um, effect, let's call it. And what is
Yeah.
inflammaging? It's the micro chronic inflammation that is there all the time. So autoimmune diseases, like women under autoimmune diseases, already has a prevalence towards inflammation because their body is actively fighting against themselves and also against the bacteria and the viruses and other factors that's coming from outside. So it's a double whammy, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And when
feel
the stress comes in, that inflammation on top of that increases, and it's not going to affect your skin really well. What's going to happen is your collagen and elastin tissue and the composition will start degrading faster than another person.
Mhm.
So you may see that as signs of inflammation on your face, dryness, dullness, loss of elasticity, premature aging signs faster, and the recovery rate or the recovery time is not as fast as you expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the side effect of getting old, and the perimenopause on top of it if you have an autoimmune prevalence, that doesn't help. So, but there are ways of working against that, so it's
Yeah.
not hopeless.
Do you have a couple ways that maybe you could share with us that we could do that?
Sure. It's gonna sound like a classic, but the inside out and the outside in, they work together. Okay.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I wish there was a pill we could take it and, just be done with it. Maybe in 30 years, who knows, but not now. So for now, especially if you are more autoimmune susceptible, I would definitely recommend from inside out first. What you
Hmm.
eat,
Hmm.
when you eat, how you eat. So if
Right.
you're eating like me, I'm like, like just I'm not eating food sometimes. I'm literally drinking the food. I'm like eating so fast because I don't have time. That is not good because your satiety centers cannot distinguish if you're full or not. So you end up eating more. For example, the food industry loves us eating chips and soft food. The less you chew, the more hungry you're going to feel and the less full you're going to feel.
Mm.
But that stimulation, like salty, sugary, and fatty stimulation, is gonna want you more.
Yeah.
However, it works against you. So that's one thing, how you eat it. When you eat it, if you are not eating it at certain times, you can do intermittent fasting, that's fine. But if you are not eating all day and then all of a sudden you come home and you're out of the work stress and then you are just eating all the food because then there is this comfort food thing coming in and you want to increase the endorphins. So what's going to happen? That's going to turn into fat. And what you eat. I mean, if you're eating ice cream, just ice cream or fries, that's going to work against you. So that is the eating part.
Yeah.
And there is a mental aspect to it. And sometimes saying mental sounds a little bit offensive to some people. Saying, am I crazy? It was like, no, everybody's crazy. We're all mad here, says Alice, and the rabbit down the hole. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. There's a wellness effect you can control. If you feel like you are very stressed and everything is overwhelming you, go to the corner, do some breathing exercises, close your eyes, put your favorite music, 5 minutes. Take a break from the world for 5 minutes. Call it meditation, call it chilling out, or if you don't want to even do that, call your best friend and start an bitching session. I call it the bitching session because I call my friends like, guys, we're gonna do a bitching session. What happens during that session is you just talk. You just
Mm.
talk and vent out. So sometimes even releasing that negative energy from your system helps. You
Yeah.
just need a friendly ear to listen to you. That's all.
Hmm.
So that's from the inside out. Okay. Because what happens inside mirrors on your skin.
Hmm.
Okay. So let's talk about the outside in. So
Okay.
there's a couple things. If you feel like you're in a negative environment or a negative workplace, step out. Even take a bathroom break, Just
Yeah.
remove yourself from that negative environment. Just say, I need to drink water, I need to pee, or do you want me to poop here? I need to go. Just leave. And
Yeah.
then take your time and wait in the bathroom and say, okay, I'm good. And then shield yourself, go back. So that's the outside part.
Yeah.
And what can you do for your skin? Because everything is mirroring out, right? Definitely a good skincare.
Mm.
Don't cut corners on what you put on your skin and what you put in your body,
Yeah.
because the cheap products have cheap results. That's
Mhm.
another thing. First,
Yeah.
you're not rich enough to buy cheap products. Second of all, you don't want cheap results on your face or on your body showing up outside. So
Yeah.
that's the two things. You may not end up buying luxury. That may not be eligible to you, or it may not be your favorite, but go out, do your research, and get the best one that is good for you. Don't go for the cheap thing. Don't go for the most advertised one.
Mhm.
And like, okay, so every celebrity has a skincare brand now,
Yeah.
but they have a dermatologist and a plastic surgeon 24/7 on call. I mean, is it believable? To me, no. I mean, yeah, sure, they're using cream, but like, they're all like tighten up at the back, like all the skin is tightened up at the back. I wish we all had that possibility, but we don't. So we make do what we have.
Yeah.
That is selecting the best skincare you can.
Mhm.
Look for the ingredients. Don't go for the one hero ingredient. Go for the companies that are transparent and
Yeah.
that have the science in it.
Mm.
Because you need to get, and I want you to get, what your money's worth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that kind of brings us back to Ava Sienna, and that is a product that you've created, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, Avicenna was born because I needed one. To be
Yeah.
And I was working on this. As I said, I kind of got mad because all these big companies have these uh, skincare brands that are like thousands of dollars, and even if you put the money in, it's not going to do anything. And as a scientist, I got mad, and as a consumer, I got even worse. I mean, I was pissed
Mhm.
because, as we said, nobody's rich enough to buy cheap products or bad products or glittery products. I call them glittery products. They look nice
Yeah.
outside, but it's empty inside.
Mhm.
So, I was talking to my dad, and we were discussing my research. And then he was like, "What's going on with your skin?" And I said, "I am learning cosmetic chemistry, and I'm combining immunology, molecular medicine, with all the data in PubMed, with the formulation background I'm getting." And he was like, "Okay, continue what you're doing." And he was my very harsh critic, by the way. Surgeons are harsh, believe me. But he liked the idea that I was combining the science with a very daily need. And it's only ethical to learn, like, I have all this information and share it with everybody, because the knowledge I generate, yes, we generate it as scientists, but at the end of the day, it doesn't belong to us, it belongs to everybody. And to convey that information is the most important thing. So that's how Lucina was born. We combined all the ingredients that works with each other, not
Mhm.
against each other, and works with the skin. And we came up with 6 different products: one cream, one eye cream, one cleanser, one serum, and one face oil, and one mask. And
Mhm.
you don't need more. You just need one cream. You can use it during the day, you can use it during the night. And that's the thing. You don't need 5 different creams to solve 5 different problems.
Mhm.
Because when you apply 5 different creams on top of each other, it's gonna add up, and your skin is going to suffocate. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be too heavy and too much.
Yeah.
You don't want too much. You already have too much in your life. You don't need too much on your skin. You need something that works with you, that makes you happy. And you
Yeah.
say like, yeah, this was worth it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about Avicina. And now we're going into the devices. We have one device that's UV Shield Facial Analyzer, because we didn't want to come up with the another sunscreen. And I don't know if you're following, there's a sunscreen scandal going on in the beauty industry these days.
Okay.
half of the sunscreens, they are not at the SPF level they are claiming to be.
Hmm.
And some of them are saying, oh, we do no white cast mineral sunscreen. And one of the formulators said that's not possible. And that exploded also on the side. So it's a whole mess. And once you find a really good sunscreen, that becomes your holy grail. But how do you know that you covered yourself completely with the sunscreen? The UV Shield Facial Analyzer shows you that. Like
Ah,
once you put it on, it looks black.
yeah.
And if you didn't put it on, if you have UV damage, your face, in general, the canvas looks kind of gray, but the UV damage looks black, so you can see your damage.
Mm.
So it doesn't store any pictures, so you can use it on the little ones. It doesn't need an extra app. I am tired of apps. All you have to do is charge it, look at it, see your change. And also, we're coming up with a new device. We just launched it 5 days ago. It is Anka Face and Body treatment system. What that is we use the power of the LED light, red, blue, and pink,
Yeah.
with the radio frequency, the EMS, and ultrasound. And what it does is this basically. I wish we could take our face to work out and make it lift heavy lifts, and so we didn't have to sag. Unfortunately, we do sag thanks to the gravity. And what this device does is, with the EMS and the radio frequency and the LED lights, it basically puts your face into the gym.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it makes it go through a workout, 5 minute workout, and it does lift it very well. You can
Yeah.
see it on Instagram. If you visit Instagram, you'll see my video without the makeup. I look scary, just warning. Uh, but it does work. And what it does is that workout, and then you follow it with your skincare, and you are good to go and face the world. That's the whole thing about Avicina.
Ah, I love that. I love both those devices. It would be so interesting because when you have kids, you're like, put the sunscreen on. They're like, we got it, we got it. It'd be nice to have a device be like, well, you don't have it right here, do you?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And my daughter loves it because I put it on her face. Like, I make little hearts first, and then she's like, oh, I have hearts. Then
That's so
she
cute.
starts playing with it, and then we put the sunscreen on her face and on her body. So we turn it into a game. So
Yeah.
it's easier than like, no, I don't want to put this on, screaming.
Right.
We turn it to a game and it works.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Oh, great. Um, yeah, so definitely I will put all the links for your website and for your Instagram down below for sure. Um, I always try to wrap up this podcast with asking everybody one question specifically. This is called Nurture Herself because it's really about like, what do you do on a daily to try to take care of yourself? And I know that you do so many things, but is there one thing in particular that you try to do every day that might be a habit that you could share with us?
Well, habit. Coffee. I love my coffee time. And what I try to do, like, of course, I do my very basic skincare in the morning, cleanse my face, put my cream on, at least put a cream on, like, takes 2 seconds, because I realize if I don't do that, I end up with more wrinkles and more dry skin during the day. And I started itching my face because it's drying, like
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that. My husband was like, why are you touching your face nonstop? Because it was dry
Yeah.
and it felt weird. So morning, very little cleanser, and the cream very light because it's summer now.
Mhm.
Coffee, and then the other thing is I have a couple rose bushes back in the pot, and I look like the crazy rose lady of the neighborhood. I take the coffee, I go outside and look at the roses. It's like,
Yeah.
growing, what are you doing today? And I think I started talking to them, and it keeps
Yeah.
people away from me because I think I look like crazy. But I like talking to them, being like, "Oh, you're growing, you're so cute," So
Yeah.
anything that gets your mind off the world for a couple minutes,
Wow.
it's
I mean,
get
you're literally stopping to smell the roses. That's amazing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And maybe
Um,
talk to them a little bit, but
yeah,
yeah.
but it's sometimes for people it's hard. But I try to have my 5 minutes
Hmm.
off Also, I have these earplugs, I put them on and then just cut off from the world 5 minutes.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know,
like that.
that helps.
Sometimes it only takes 5 minutes, right? And you can really come back recharged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
mean, I can't go out and walk on the grass because every time I do that with naked, feet,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get bitten with something. So I stopped doing that. I wish I could.
Hmm,
It
hmm.
bites me all the time.
Right. Yeah. That's good in theory. I live in Vermont. If I did that most of the year, it'd be freezing. So I can't do that very often either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I feel like I've learned a lot. I have written some really good quotes down that I really enjoy. And I can't wait for people to check out your products and see more about you.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to
Mhm.
uh Instagram, uh
Yeah.
shoot a DM there or send us an email or find us with Amanda here.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Definitely go check out the links below, check her out, and check out the products that she offers you. Because remember, choose yourself. And sometimes that means choosing your skin. And I love you. I'll talk to you next week.